Let's all together pay homage to the Supreme Buddha and let's go for refuge, triple jumps. So please join with me for the prayers. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Ditiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Ditiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Ditiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sadhu, sadhu. To observe 5 precepts consciously, repeat after me, keep your palms together and say Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I observe the precept of abstaining from stealing. Kamesu miccāchāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I observe the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I observe the precept of abstaining from telling lies. Suramere majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs. I observe these precepts for the happiness in this life and to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Good afternoon, dear devotees. First of all, I must apologize for being late. Unexpectedly, we had traffic on the way, so there was not any other choice but to wait, right? And while I was in the traffic, I learned 2 lessons, okay, today. One was, when we got stuck in the traffic, there were a lot of good cars around me. Okay, you got to see a Corvette, but it's a good one. There were lots of good cars, luxury cars. And there were like middle class cars, okay. Okay. And there were these tiny Fiats. Okay. So all these cars got stuck in the same traffic. Then it came to my mind, no matter what the car is, no matter how much luxurious the car is, we all are stuck in the same traffic. No matter what the life is, what level of life we are in, we all are stuck in the same problems. Okay? That's why Buddha saw the first noble truth. Buddha understood the first noble truth is a universal thing. It's a universal issue, which we call, what is the first noble truth? What is it? It's called dukkha. What is it? Dukkha. Dukkha has a lot of meanings, and dukkha has a lot of translations in different books. Okay, so what is the common word, English word that we use for dukkha? It's called suffering. First noble truth is called suffering, the noble truth of suffering. When it comes to suffering, the word suffering, how we understand the word suffering can be different. Okay? Usually what we call suffering is something that is related to pain. Misery, painful situations, emotional suffering, emotional pain, physical pain. Yes. Suffering is, when it comes to suffering, physical pain is one part of suffering. But it is not only the suffering. Okay? And pain is not always the only suffering in life. So according to Buddhism, there are 3 types of suffering. New information, huh? How many types of sufferings are there? 3. The first type of suffering is called dukkha dukkha. The word used in this in the Pali Canon is called dukkha dukkha. If you translate it in English, it's suffering suffering. All right, it's suffering. There's an apparent suffering that anyone can understand. Okay. Do you know that sickness is suffering? Do you know? Yes, we all know. Anyone can understand that, right? Yes. Do you know that becoming aging is suffering? You don't understand it when you're young. Huh? You understand it when you hit around like 45? Huh? 50? When your body starts to change? You, little by little, these young features in your face and body start to disappear? Huh? Now it is a suffering. Okay, when we are young, we spend a lot of time in front of the mirror. Do you spend the same time when you're old? Not much. Okay. Yes. So there is suffering that anyone can understand. Yes. Do you know that separation from loved ones is suffering? Yes, we all can understand. So this is called dukkha dukkha, which is the apparent suffering or suffering. Okay? And there's the other type of dukkha, which you can see in the same apparent suffering also. Okay? It is one part of the suffering. It's called viparinama dukkha. Just suffering due to change. And now we are going a little bit more deeper into suffering. Why this suffering cause is because of what? Because of change. Sickness is always something change. You are healthy now, all of a sudden it changed. So there is suffering due to change. Okay. Then aging is also a suffering that is due to change. Separation from loved ones is also because of what? Change. Okay. You don't have to be separated physically. Sometimes you get emotionally separated, isn't it? People they say like you should to stay away from loneliness. You have to associate many people and be with many people. But sometimes when you're among people, you can feel lonely, can't you? While you're living with people, even in relationships, even in family, sometimes people feel lonely, isn't it? Yes. So this is due to change. Okay. So suffering that is due to change is called viparinama dukkha. And then there is this subtle, there's this deepest and the most subtle form of suffering. It's called sankhara dukkha. Sankhara dukkha is a very simple thing, but it is very difficult to understand because it is too much simple. Okay, we are so good at making complicated things, isn't it? Simple things in life may be made complicated. That's the human nature. Even when we preach, when I do sermons, sometimes some people say, "Oh, you are speaking about very what is that? Simple things. You know, we need more deeper stuff to learn." Actually, it's easy to learn deeper stuff. It's very difficult to master the simpler things in life. Okay, so sankhara dukkha is nothing but the suffering due to continuity of life. Okay, what you mean by continuity of life is that let me ask you a question. Do you feel you are existing in this world? You do, right? Yes. And every day we have this continuation of our life from moment to moment, right? So how does suffering cause is because of this continuity. We get the experiences and we react to them, okay? And due to our ignorance, we react to certain things in more ignorant way, and that causes what? Suffering. Okay? That's the simplest way to think. But you have to learn more about this because it's very subtle, it's very, I would say, deeply hidden within you, the sankhara dukkha. This is the subtlest form of suffering. So Buddhism is not always about dying, death, aging. Okay? And then one gentleman came up to me and said, like, why always in Buddhism everything starts with suffering? You know, isn't that pessimistic? Even the Buddhists say this. I've heard, right? Buddhism is so much negative. That's why this whole Buddhist community has been going down with the mentality. No, it's not about pessimistic. They are not pessimistic ideas. Death is not pessimistic. Death is not pessimistic. Aging is not pessimistic. Or separation from loved ones is not pessimistic. They are realistic. They are real. Even though you don't like to think about it, even though you consider this as a negative, it is the truth. No one can stay away from these ultimate truths in life. Okay. So what Buddha teaches us is to be ready and be strong to face these realities in life. Okay? To be strong and to realize that when you truly realize the nature of this change in life, you make peace with it. You don't fight with it. Okay? And to be happy in the pursuit of happiness, people fight. Okay? People fight to be happy. And people achieve certain things to be happy. We all achieve things to be happy, isn't it? Yes. But by pursuing and by fighting and by achieving them, do you think that if we achieve, will we be content and fulfilled one day in this pursuit? What do you think? Do you think that after achieving every material pleasure in this world, do you think still the mind will say, oh, now I'm okay? Huh? To understand about this, I just listened to this podcast yesterday, and the one who's talking, he said, it's a wonderful idea. When you compare to the past, our history, people who lived in the past, even in here in England, there were people who lived in the past, compared to their life. Okay. Today you're having comfortabilities, opportunities, right? The materials. Let's compare these two levels of life. Today you're living like kings. Okay. Today you have opportunities and comfortabilities, facilities that in the past only kings had. Okay. But today you live a normal life. Okay. But then materially the world has become so much better. But with the material development, however, happiness, peace, has it become any better? I don't think so. But still, there is missing something within us. I wish I had this, I wish I had that. That idea, that's there within people. So no matter how much we become developed, or no matter how much the technology develops, the mind, the common unsatisfied nature of mind stays the same. Buddha said a nice, wonderful verse. Buddha said, Nakaha panavasena dittikame suvijati. Even though a man was showered with a golden rain, okay, sitting on a golden mountain, the man is showered with a rain of gold coins. Okay, still the man yearns and looks a little bit more. That's the nature of your mind. That's why Buddha saw this mind like it's like the ocean. Okay. Buddha gave the metaphor to understand the mind. It's like the ocean. No matter how much water you put into it, right? No matter how much water you put into it, it will never be overflow. It just stays the same. So does our mind. So today I would like to share a wonderful teaching from the Buddha. In this sutra, the Buddha speaks about purity of mind. Okay, and you know that in Buddhist practice we all try to make our mind more pure, isn't it? Yes, to cleanse our mind and to have a more wholesome mind and a pure mind. So not only Buddhists do this, but most of the other religions, they try to achieve a pure state of mind. But in Hinduism, they try this, right? Even Jainism, they practice it. Even in other religions like Christianity, Islam, they have their own practice or their own ways to do this. So in the Buddha's time, in India, it was the common idea that to achieve a pure mind, we must meditate. Okay? That was the common idea. Isn't that the idea that we also have in our mind? We should, to make our mind pure, we should meditate and achieve these levels of stillness, calmness through the meditation. Isn't that why people come to Buddhist temples? You know, and sit down and meditate to achieve this stillness in mind. That's a good thing. But then the Buddha says in this sutra, I don't call that practice, I don't call this meditation as the purity of mind. It is a bit surprising. Okay, it's a very challenging idea. Okay, imagine this being said in ancient India. Okay, people, they have a lot of religions, they have a lot of spiritual practices who practice meditation and spiritual achievements. But the says that I don't call this living a wholesome, a pure life. Okay. The sutra's name is called Sallekha Sutta. What is it? Sallekha Sutta. Whenever you listen to the Buddhist speeches, the speaker will say the names of some sutras. Okay. This is something that I've been doing for many years as a monk and before becoming a monk. When I listen to Buddhist speeches or any speech, when they refer to certain parts of a scripture, what I do is I keep it in my mind, the name, or I jot it down in somewhere so that I go back and refer to it and read it again. Okay. The best way to have a clear understanding about Buddha's teachings is one, you must read than listening. I would suggest you to read more. Because when you read more, the Buddha's teachings, you are directly connecting with the Buddha's words. Today I am sitting here and I'm teaching to you, or I'm doing this sermon. You're listening, you're getting connected with my words, right? And then when I say the Buddha's teachings, it comes through me. But then you don't get the chance to directly connect with the Buddha's teachings, isn't it? Yes. So I would suggest you to read. Now then you may ask where to read, how to read, what are the things we should be reading, and what are the books that we should read. So there are Buddhist teachings being translated into English. Okay. So usually one of the most famous translations is called the translation from Bhikkhu Bodhi. Bhikkhu Bodhi translated almost all the sutras into English, and you can read it from books. So if you can find Bhikkhu, if you can type on maybe internet, Bhikkhu Bodhi translations of Buddhist scriptures of Tripitaka, you can find a lot of places. You can buy books, either you can buy books, or then you can read online. Where to read on the Buddha's teachings online is, there are two websites I would recommend. The first one is called Access to Insight. Okay, Access to Insight. And the other one is called Sutta Central. I would recommend the Sutta Central website for you to read the Buddha's teachings because it is very user-friendly for you to read. And have a good understanding about the Buddhist scriptures. Now you may ask, you may say, oh, I'm so much busy, you can't read. You're not busy that much, right? Are you busy? You're not that busy. We are not that busy. We have time, okay, but we don't make time. Let me ask you a question. Do you have some time, no matter what happens in the day, to eat? We have time. We make time, isn't it? It's about making time. To have a shower, to go up and down on social media a little bit. We all have time. Okay. So that means we have time to read, learn the Buddha's teachings. The more you read the Buddhist scriptures, the more you get a clear understanding about the Buddha's message. Otherwise, we learn the Buddha's teachings from a lot of places. We listen to a lot of speeches. We take some here and there ideas, but if they are not well ordered, it's better to read and learn. To learn it, but after learning, when you learn, the most important thing is ask this one question: where should I practice? And how should I practice this? Okay. So in India, there was this belief that if you need to have a pure mind, you must meditate. But then the Buddha challenged this idea. Buddha said, I don't call this is living a pure life. Okay? In ancient India, people practiced meditation and they achieved certain levels of stillness, levels of, I would say, spiritual attainments through meditation. These levels of attainments are called, we call it a special name, it's called jhana. What are they? Jhana, that's a Pali word. In Sinhala language, we call them dhyana. In Hindi, we call it dhyana. In Japanese, we call it Zen. Okay. So, in Sinhala, it is dhyana. In Pali, it is jhana. In Hindi, it is dhyan. And when it goes to Japan, it became Zen. And that's where you hear the Zen Buddhism. Okay? Zen Buddhism has more of meditational practice. So people achieve these type of. You don't need to be a Buddha. You don't need to be an Arahant. Don't need to be an enlightened person to achieve these kind of levels of stillness in mind through meditation. All right? Anyone can do that if they meditate. Okay? So the Buddha explains each and every level of spiritual attainment. Okay, let's see what are these spiritual attainments. The first level is called the first jhana. Okay, the first level of spiritual attainment. So what is the nature of this spiritual attainment? The Buddha says how to do this. First, he must seclude from sensual pleasure. What is the first level? First thing that we have to do. Seclude from sensual pleasure. That is a different thing. The world that we live in, okay, this human realm, is belong to a category of realms called Kama Dhatu. Okay? It's called Kama Dhatu. Kama Dhatu means humans and other animals that you see in this world. The most prominent thing that we pursue in this life is called sensual pleasure. Isn't it? Usually we all pursue the sensual pleasure. Do we? Yes. Everything that we do, most of the things that we do in this life is for achieving this sensual pleasure in life. Why do you wake up in the morning and go to work? To earn some living. And to what? Huh? To meditate? No. What do? You just have to be happy with these materials, isn't it? Yes. That is same with these animals. Why do they wake up in the morning and go find some food? Birds. Then in here you don't find much dogs, stray dogs, isn't it? In Sri Lanka, if you go to Sri Lanka, every dog is a stray dog. Alright? So they wake up in the morning, they go find scavenge. Why? To have pleasure. That's the survival and to pleasurize themselves. That's what they do. So the most prominent character of this realm, this human world and animal world, is we pursue this material pleasure. So this is called Kama Dhatu. Okay. And then, so what we do in daily life is we pursue the sensual pleasure. But in meditation, how do you achieve the spiritual peace and happiness? By letting go or secluding yourself from this sensual pleasure, attachment to the sensual pleasure, and tapping into more spiritual pleasure. The pleasure within, this peace and stillness within. Okay, I will give you an example. You all have experienced this spiritual pleasure. I'll give you an example. You don't need to meditate to achieve spiritual pleasure. Let's say you helped someone, or you gave your help to a person even when you are in a challenging period of your life. You gave your help to another person to make the other person happy. I take this example often. Let's say you're going to work and you see this homeless person, and you can see the hunger in their face. You can see from their face, you can see they're hungry. You can feel their hunger. And there's nothing to give now, The only thing that you have is the food parcel, okay, that is in your bag that you made for yourself to have in the lunch, for the lunch. That's it. Now you feel like giving this to this person. Now there's another voice in your head that talks to you and say, if I give this to this person, then what's for me? Huh? What's there for me to eat? Then you battle with this voice. This is called stinginess, right? So we battle with our mind. And then your generous voice wins. It's okay, no problem. I will give. I want to give. You give it. And you see this person having this food. And you feel happy. Do you? Yes. That kind of happiness can never be achieved by having a good meal. Can you? No. That's a different kind of happiness. That kind of happiness cannot be achieved by dressing well. No, you can't. That kind of happiness cannot be achieved by any other material. Okay? Because in that action, you become happy about yourself, about what you did, about who you are. Feel more generous and you feel like, okay, I'm more generous, I became more generous. And I'm happy by giving. When you become happy by giving the happiness, giving your love, giving your kindness, compassion towards other people, and you become happy, that is a spiritual happiness. The nature of this spiritual happiness is no matter how much time you spend, okay, whenever it comes to your mind, the thing that you did on that day, you still feel happy. Are there any moments in your life that you have done something really good, wholesome, helped someone, or gave your kindness and compassion or love to someone? When you remember that, still feels happy. I think most of you have that. You don't have to do something. Okay. That is the nature of spiritual happiness. Okay. Even at the end of your life, when you look back, if you remember this incident, the thing that you did on that day, you can still be happy. That's the beauty of spiritual happiness. Then the Buddha explains, first thing is to be secluded from sensual pleasure and tap into this spiritual happiness. Once you taste the spiritual happiness, this stillness of mind through meditation, you're tasting something beyond this spiritual pleasure. Okay. The nature of our mind is our mind let go of one happiness or one pleasure by being attached to another kind of pleasure. Okay, so when you meditate, you become more attached towards the spiritual pleasure. So then the Buddha says, he's being secluded from sensual pleasure, he's being secluded from unwholesome states of mind. Okay, and he enters upon, abides the first jhana, the first level of spiritual achievement. It is such a peaceful state of mind. How Buddha explains this state of mind, the Buddha says feels like nirvana. Feels like nirvana. Such a peaceful state. But then the Buddha says, I don't call this state, I don't call this state as a pure life, pure mind. I call this state, Buddha gives a name for this first level of spiritual achievement. It's called living in this life. Living in this life at peace. Okay, not pure, but at peace. In a simple word, more of resting in this life in peace. Okay. Where do you rest in peace usually? Huh? Where do you rest in peace? Where people rest in peace? Huh? In the cemetery, isn't it? So people believe that they need to die to rest in peace. Okay? Otherwise you will never rest in peace. You must die. But Buddha proved that no, you can live in this life and still rest in peace. Okay? So one of the blessings, one of the best wishes one can give to a living person is that may you get the chance, opportunity to rest in peace. Do not offend them, okay? Yes. Usually, even in Buddhist tradition, in Sinhala we say, Nivan Suwa Labeva. Okay. Nivan Suwa Labeva means may you attain the happiness of nirvana. But do you know for whom we say this? Only for dead people. If you say Nivan Suwa Labeva for a living person, they get offended. I used to make my mom angry by saying this. At the end of every message, I say Nivan Suwa Labeva. And they're like, do you want me to die? What are you saying? Right? No. You don't have to die. We don't only wish. We should not be only wishing to dead people nirvana. Actually, we should be wishing nirvana for living people, isn't it? Yes. So the Buddha says the first level of spiritual achievement, I don't call it a pure state. Okay, it is just living in this moment at peace. But still, the mind can be impure. Why? Why do the Buddha says this? Because I told you this before. The mind let go of one attachment by only, the nature of mind is by only being attached to another one. It's like a monkey. It's like Tarzan. Have you watched Tarzan movie? How the Tarzan goes from one tree to another. He hang on to one creeper and just swing and hold on to another one and let go of this. And makes this weird sound, right? Yes. The same way, the mind only let go of one thing by only being attached to another one. So, even when we experience spiritual pleasure, our mind gets attached to this. Okay. So, this is a common experience for most of the people who meditate. In some days, when they sit down for the meditation, they feel a wonderful peace, stillness of mind. Okay, and that is so much happier. They feel so much happy, so much peace, and they love this feeling. They fall in love with this feeling. Okay, because there is something that is beyond this and any other pleasure that we have had in our life. Next day, when this definitely go sit down for the meditation. Looking for what? Huh? Looking for what? That happiness. Now you build up loads of expectations to have that happiness and peace, stillness in mind. The nature of that mind is when you have those expectations, when you sit down for the meditation with those lot of expectation, the peace fly away. That in meditation classes, this is a common experience. You always come to me and say, "Oh, Bhante, I've had this experience during meditation, but it was only for one time and it never came back." Why? Because of expecting it, because of attachment. So it takes a very long time for people to, I teach it every day, sit down for the meditation without much expecting, just to sit down, right? If the only thing that you could do during the meditation was just sit down, it's okay. Be happy with it, right? When we came to the monastery, we were trained like this. Our expectation, our elder monks proved us that having lots of expectations is not going to help in your meditation. Because on the first day when we came to the monastery, everyone comes to the monastery seeking for enlightenment, isn't it? Looking to be at peace. You know what we did in the first day? The first day, elder monks came to. So we lived in a hall like this, okay, and we had to sleep on the floor. The first lesson, he came with a stack of brooms and he asked us to clean every place in this hall. I don't want to see a single speck of dust. So we were cleaning. And every day from around 5:30 in the morning after the morning prayers, we start to clean. Every day. No lessons, no any lessons about meditation, no any lessons about enlightenment or how to be enlightened. Just the only lesson I learned as a novice monk was just to clean. Even before becoming a monk, usually you have to undergo a training period of 1.5 years. So I was in a monastery, and I was the only person to help monks. There were 25 monks, and I had to cook for all the monks in the morning. And from sun up to, let's say around 4 a.m. to 11 p.m., constantly working. No any lesson or nothing, no meditation, just working, cleaning. And while cleaning, I'm thinking, I came here to meditate. I came here to be enlightened. Now, what am I doing? But then, after many years, I understood the value of cleaning, value of these chores. Because after many years, we learned that when you clean, you don't only clean the room or the place, you're also cleaning your mind. Okay? Because after some time, what happens to you is this cleaning becomes your meditation. You are more one with cleaning. And cleaning becomes one of the most joyful and enjoyable things that you can do. But today, cleaning is, tell me who enjoys cleaning. Yeah, you did very good. Usually, people don't enjoy cleaning, isn't it? Yes. If you go see the sink in the kitchen, huh? There are a lot of things to be clean, isn't it? Yeah. If you go see the room, it happens. There's another lesson that we were taught in the monastery. When you clean, always think that why I'm cleaning this is to make it easy for the other person or the next person who is using this, make it easy for that person. As an act of kindness and compassion. My master used to say, if you go to a toilet, be it a public toilet, be it in a toilet in the monastery, if the toilet is uncleaned, that is your job. It is your job to clean it. Don't complain. Don't be angry. Because when you see, even in a public space, when you see an unclean toilet, there's a little bit of anger coming in. Who did this? Huh? Who forgot to flush? Huh? There's a bit of anger coming in. That anger is unnecessary. It's your job. It is your opportunity to clean. Why? Because I'm cleaning this because I don't want the next person who's using this to happen. My master used to say, when you clean a cup, clean it thoroughly. Clean it deliberately, thoroughly. Around the cup, within the cup, you have to clean usually we don't clean this part, do we? Do you clean this, the bottom of the cup? Usually we don't. Huh? It's the same with the saucer. We don't clean this side. We just do this. You have to clean it thoroughly, and while cleaning, think, may the next person who's using this cup use it happily, without any problem. It's a wonderful act of compassion. You can do this while when you're at home as well. Okay. There's another wonderful practice. There are a lot of things that you learn when you come to the monastery. Whenever you wash your plate, food plate, the plate that you had food, when you go wash in the sink, when you throw the water out, you can see these little particles of food. Sometimes rice, sometimes a little bit of paripu, and the dal. Sri Lankans do eat dal a lot. Indians do eat a lot? Yeah, they do, right? But we put coconut milk to everything. So yeah, when you wash your food plate, there's this little bit of food particles. When you throw it away, water, think, may this little food particles become a food to a little animal, maybe a little small ant, small worm. You have to only think, may it become a food, and throw it. The Buddha says that even when you wash your food plate and throw that water, when you think like this, that is also a merit, that is also a good karma that you achieve in life. So ladies, when you see this, the vessels that you used to cook, don't think it as a stress. It is an opportunity for you to collect good merits to your life, Not only ladies, gentlemen as well. Yes. So then the Buddha says, back to the sutra, the Buddha says, I don't call this spiritual achievement as a pure, it is not a pure mind, it's just living in this moment at peace. So he goes on explaining the other spiritual achievement. In each and every spiritual achievement, the Buddha says, I don't call this as a pure mind, acquiring a pure mind. So then the Buddha teaches us the way to achieve a pure mind. It's a wonderful thing. That's why I always say nirvana or enlightenment is not complicated as you think. Humans are very much good at making simple things so much complicated. Okay? So don't think that nirvana is some kind of a spiritual, out there and between the sky, between the clouds. No. It's very, very much down to earth, very earthly thing. Let me tell you how to achieve a pure mind. The Buddha says, this is how to achieve the pure mind. A person thinks in this way. A person thinks others will be cruel. People out there around you will be cruel, but I shall not be cruel. Okay? You make a conscious choice, decision. Let other people be cruel. It's okay. But I myself will not be cruel. I don't cultivate hate in my mind. That is called acquiring a pure mind. Is it simple? No. It's not that simple. It's not as simple as you think. But it is the way. Then the Buddha says, others will kill living beings, but I shall abstain from killing living beings. This is the way to acquire a pure mind. Others will take what is not given, but I shall not take what is not given. Others will speak falsehood. I shall abstain from false speech. It takes a conscious. So this is what we call in Buddhism called discipline. Okay? The Pali word is called sila. What is it? Sila. Sila is not precept. Okay? It is discipline. Precept and a discipline are two different things. Today you observed 5 precepts. Can you remember that? What are they? Abstaining from killing beings, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from telling lies, abstaining from using intoxicating drinks and drugs. These are precepts. You observe them as precepts. But what is the discipline? What's the difference between a precept and a discipline? Think about it like this. There is a big tree, okay? And under this big tree, there's a nice shade, and under this big tree, it is very safe. And around this big tree, there is a fence, okay, or there's a wall. Let's say this wall or this fence is, so the tree is in the middle, there's a big fence covering the tree, okay, around it. Under the tree, under the shade, it is very safe. Okay. Let's say beyond the wall or beyond the fence, it is not safe. Okay, there is danger. Under the shade, it is very safe. 1 feet away from the tree or the shade, it is also safe. 10 feet away from the tree, it is also safe. when you go very near to the fence, it is also safe. Okay? You're protected. But now you know that beyond the fence is danger. But the more you get closer to the fence, what are you getting closer to? To the danger, to the suffering, isn't it? In the same way, precept is like a fence. Okay, it guards you, it disciplines you. It's a moral discipline. Okay, moral boundary. So that is something like a law. Okay, you can do things without breaking a law, but still it is what? Dangerous, isn't it? Yes. In the same way, discipline is you make a conscious decision. No, I must not kill beings. But a precept is something that is you're being guarded with. But what you should be getting closer to is more to the discipline than to a rule. Okay, it's very easy to people used to see this 5 precepts are 5 rules. In Buddhism, we don't have rules, because if there is a rule, there are people who break the rule, and there will be a what? Punishment. We don't have punishments in Buddhism. No one is there to punish. Buddha is not coming to see, oh, you're doing bad things, I will punish you. No. Okay? No one is coming to punish you. You only have to be disciplined. Even in monastery, even for a monk, when a monk breaks disciplinary rules or disciplines, that's no punishment. That's a wonderful ritual, traditional thing that we do. So we have, for a novice monk, there are 10 precepts. 10 disciplines should be followed by a novice monk. For a higher ordained monk, or for a senior monk, there are 227 precepts to be followed. And it is not easy, right? And when certain precepts, when certain disciplines being broken because of our ignorance, certain things happen. It's a wonderful thing that we do. When you realize that you have broken this precept, you have to go to one of your brother monks and you have to reveal what you have done. I did this, okay, this happened, so from now onwards, I'm opening up to you. From now onwards, I try my best to be disciplined. Again, that is the correction of the offense. There is no punishment. There's this nice story Ajahn Sumedho used to say. When he was in the monastery, there was a one monk, was a new monk. He came up to Ajahn Sumedho and said, I need to make a confession. What is it? Ajahn Sumedho said, in the middle of the night, there was a piece of cake in the kitchen. I felt so much hungry, right? So I snuck into the kitchen, I ate this. Because for the monks, you're not allowed to have food after 12 p.m. After midday, we give up eating food. And then he was looking down, and then Ajahn Sumedho was looking at him, and there was this big silence. Then this monk looked at Ajahn Sumedho and said, what, there is no punishment? Isn't there anything, any punishment that you give to me? Then Ajahn Sumedho says, there is no punishment in Buddhism. Right? There's only, you're being forgiven, you're being guided, right, with love and compassion to correct your mistake. So then Ajahn Sumedho said, next time, when you feel hungry, go to the kitchen and make a fruit juice, okay, and have it, because it is allowed. So, a rule is very different than discipline. So what you have to make your 5 precepts, should you making them 5 rules or discipline? Be more closer to discipline. Take a conscious decision. No, I don't want to harm any being. Okay? Luckily you don't have many mosquitoes here. Huh? Back in Sri Lanka, you know how difficult it is not to kill a mosquito. Yes. So you take a conscious decision to not to harm any living being. It makes your mind so much pure and happy. And you realize that I don't hurt a single living being on this earth. So that's a wonderful idea. Yes. That is a way to achieve a pure mind. It is very, very earthly thing we can do, a human thing that we can do. And then, what is the most difficult precept for you to practice? It is lying, isn't it? Everything is easy except lying. Huh? What is the Buddha's idea about lying? So a lot of people ask, like, should we tell, what do you think about white lies? Huh? Yes?
It's acceptable. Some people call white lies as in saying something to make someone else feel better.
Yeah.
And for example, my primary school teacher said this is a white lie. For example, you get a jumper and it's really ugly, but this person thinks it's nice and it's your friend. It says, how do you like my jumper? And he says, this is thank you very much. That's a white lie. That's what the teacher
Yeah. Okay.
It makes them feel better.
Definitely.
But it's still a lie and it brings delusion to that person.
Yeah,
Therefore, it's considered a bad deed.
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to lying, Buddha refers the lie as the most important thing. Okay, the crucial factor in lying is what do you have? What is your intention? Okay, is it an evil intention, or unwholesome intention, or wholesome intention? Okay, we must know the truth. Okay, truth is something that we must know. But there is a time that we must realize the truth. Sometimes when we've been told the truth in the wrong time, in the wrong place, the same thing, the same truth, it is truth. Can be a little bit, something's a little bit off. I learned this because I was thinking about this. I had this idea. We must tell the truth to everyone. And I became a lot more trouble to people. I became a big trouble to people when you tell the truth. I learned this in the hard way. There was one uncle who had a terminal cancer. Terrible things I have done when I became a monk, before becoming a monk. Okay. So everyone was making him happy, I told him you're going to die. All right, and that was the truth. Okay, Good things happen with that as well, but sometimes some people can't accept the truth at that moment of life. No? So, yes, we need to tell the truth. There's a time, there's a way. The Buddha says that even though it is the truth, the Buddha waits until the time. Okay? So, but when it comes to white lies or red lies or black lies or anything, Buddha never explained what type of lie it is. Okay. Then when it comes to a lie, it can give rise to many debates, many arguments. So I was giving a speech about why we should not lie, tell the truth. And there's this gentleman who's asked a question. If you were in the Second World War, okay, if you were hiding some Jewish people in your house, okay, if the German soldiers come and knock on your doors and say, are there any people, Jewish people hidden in your house? Would you say yes or no? Okay, it can go into these kind of debates. But that's why the Buddha gave a clear understanding, clear idea about lying. The Buddha said it depends on what intention you have. Whether to fool someone and make their life terrible, bad, or to give something better to someone, make something better to someone. Okay? It depends on that. Because karma is not what you do. Karma is what? It is your intention. It is about why you are doing it. Here. Okay. That's why parents, sometimes as parents, you have to take tough decisions, isn't it? On behalf of your children's happiness. Right? Sometimes some parents worry, Buddhist parents worry, am I being too angry? Am I being too hard on my children? Being too hard on my children? Does it give bad karma to my life? Depends on your intention. Depends on why you're doing this. Are you doing this with the mind of hatred? Are you doing this with the mind of compassion? What is it? Ask it from yourself. But do not let your hatred, right, come out. Do not let your problems that you had in the workspace and that stress, do not let it flow through your children. Right? Don't do that. You have to guide them, you have to give love, care, compassion, but doesn't mean that you have to always baby, and say, okay, everything that you do is okay, I'm not going to say anything to you. Huh? I don't think that is love. Right? Love can come in harsh ways as well. I see my master's love coming in very, very much harsh ways. Okay. Very much harsh ways, and we learn lessons. But understand that in each and every harsh way of disciplining, you must, at the end of this lesson, you must enlighten the person. You should not be giving the hatred to that person. One day, I had to kneel down in the monastery as a monk. Okay, in front of many monks, I had to kneel down. My teacher, my master gave this punishment to me. It's not a punishment. It's not like hitting, and he never hits you. He has him kneel down. I knelt down. And he gave me a wonderful advice. He says, always respect your elders. I was a little bit, I admit that I'm not a pure person. Okay, I have a lot of imperfections. But it's a wonderful lesson that learn. So yeah, it's a beautiful way. But it is not with anger. It's with what? It's with love, compassion. Okay? So the Buddha says that each and every level in spiritual, it is not the pureness of your mind. It is you taking a conscious decision to be disciplined. Okay? That's how you achieve a pure mind. So you have 5 ways to be disciplined. What is it? These 5 precepts. What you should be doing? You should not be doing, or you should not be staying away from these things just because they are rules. But because what? I need to be disciplined. I take a conscious decision to not to kill beings. I take a conscious decision to not to steal anything. I take a conscious decision to stay away from sexual misconduct. What do you mean by sexual misconduct? Not every person, not many people talk about this. Even the Dhamma schools we've been taught. Like usually teachers never talk about this, about sexual misconduct. What is this? Buddha taught the simplest meaning of the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct is, if you're in a relationship, okay, you maintain the trust towards the person who you are related. You don't break that trust. Okay. And that leads to peace and happiness. Isn't it? Yes. It leads to peace and happiness. Why? Because trust is the most important, one of the most important policies of things in each and every relationship. If you don't trust the person, will it be happy? I don't think so. Right? So that you maintain the trust towards that person so that it doesn't give rise to pain and suffering in life. So this is called acquiring a pure mind. Buddha explains a lot of ways to do this, but there is no much time left. So I would invite all of you to read this sutra. The sutra's name is called Sallekha Sutta. I will give the English name. It's called effacement. Sallekha means effacement. Okay. Whenever you have a free time, read this and read it more, and then you will have a good understanding.